Raw video, folks, coming to you live from Laura's kitchen. Ooh, I'm getting tired. Okay, like I said, moving onward. I'm going to put my rolls in first. Get that off slowly. There we go. The one good thing about it being hot in this kitchen, they rose beautifully, didn't they? In they go. Because toaster oven tends to cook them a little quick, I had a 10-fold topper. As I was trying to say before I got coffee and coughing from all my allergies from being outside this morning, halfway through the baking time of any bread in any toaster oven, I've had to make a foil top because the top will burn if you don't. And if you put the foil top, it'll keep your bakeries from burning, and yet they will still cook. You do it on the non-shiny side up and the shiny side down. And then usually it's halfway. But you keep an eye on it. When it looks like it's going a little overly brown for half of the time, cover it with foil. And that will solve that problem. And you won't be burning your buns. And nobody wants to burn their buns after all that work of making the dough, resting the dough without you being rested, and then putting it in, dividing it up, putting it in whatever vessel you're going to use. Then you got to let it rise. Then you put it in the oven. You don't want to burn your buns after all of that work you just put in. So this will solve your problem. Lickety split, and you'll be happy with your buns. And let me tell you, folks, whoa, the thing's got an auto shut off because, oh geez Louise, there we go. This one's different. It has a 90-minute timer, and when the 90 minutes are up, it shuts off, which is sort of good in case people forget to turn them off, I suppose. I have mine on a power bar, and I turn the power bar off, and I also make sure it's off when I'm done. And I've even had to ask myself, did I turn the oven off? And I go back in the kitchen and check to make sure I turned it off. So this is a safety feature, which is wonderful. Because if you're so tired you don't know if you turned it off or not, it'll go off. But you don't want it running without anything in it, really. You're wasting electricity. You're heating up your house. Unless it's winter time and you want to heat up your house, which most of us do. But anywho, that's why I set a timer. An additional timer that reminds me. The only problem is, sometimes I need a second timer, so I remember to set the first timer. Because sometimes I'll have the timer on my desk by the computer, and I have it set for the time, but I forget to hit start. And I'm sitting there going, I wonder if it's done yet. It smells like it's done yet. And I never hit start. And I went, oh, I forgot to hit start again. So I need a timer for my timer. And I could use a cell phone because there's a timer on it. But I'm using the cell phone as a camera. So I can't set that as a timer. So I need a second timer. Ay, 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 how does anybody get anything done at this age? I just don't know. But I do, and I manage. And I have a good nose. Meaning, when bread and whatnot's almost done, I can tell by the smell. And if it's getting a little too done, I can tell by the smell as well. And I come hobbling out here. I don't run anymore. I hobble out here and check on it. And usually, 9 times out of 10, it's ready to come out of the toaster oven. So there's your helpful hints on this long video. Not done yet, folks. Hopefully you're enjoying it. Timer says they're done, the rolls. Whoop, let's hit timeout. Whoop, I keep resetting it, silly me. So let's put my gnarly looking gloves on. when I bought them, they were fairly not too expensive, but then they got popular like everything else, and they went up in price. There you go. Look at that. Isn't that delightful? Let me close the door. Okay, see? Isn't that beautiful? Perfect rolls. And not burnt. No burnt buns here. So I need to get the sub rolls next. Now, these came out a little bit wonky. They're not all the same shape, but we'll see what happens when they hit the oven, and maybe they'll catch up to their brothers and sisters, and they'll all look alike. Maybe they'll look like, what is it, 4 kids? Anyway, in it goes. And 10 minutes, as I check it in my toaster oven, 10 minutes. So it roughly takes 20 in the toaster oven for these to cook. Whereas a normal, in the bigger toaster oven I had, it took 15 minutes one side and 15 minutes with the foil covering. So here we go, folks. In they go, and they will be sub rolls. Submarine rolls. A little helpful tip is to use your scissors and cut little lines in there, and then usually they will rise uniformly that way because you have some give. Otherwise, if you've ever made rolls or things like this, you'll have one end that's risen really high and the other end is lumpy. Oh, how many times have I had that happen? So then I started doing this, and it works. And I started that with the loaf bread, because the loaf bread, I take the dough out of the bread machine, put it in my bigger toaster oven when it was working properly, and it would be all loppy coming outside of the loaf pan. And so I started making the slits, and it no longer did that. It had a little bit of give. And then I got smarter in the 5th grader, and I took the dough and I divided it in half and put half in the loaf pan and then the other half in the loaf pan right next to it. And that really made a beautiful loaf. Now, I remember years ago, my mother-in-law, I watched her do that, and I wondered, why is she cutting it in half before it goes in the loaf pan? Why did she just put the whole bread loaf in the loaf pan? Well, after I, had many, many, many loaves that go wonky, I go, oh, this is why she did that. So I'll bring you back in a little bit, show you how it's rising. Hang tight, folks. Time to put the full cover on. Shiny side down, dull side up for the next 10 minutes. And there you go. 10 minutes away. Put my gloves back on. The timer went off. Let's have a look at the sub rolls. See if they're ready. Sometimes they might need a minute or two more. Nope. They're ready. Isn't that a work of art? I don't say so myself. Look at that. Beautiful. Okay, I'm done with the toaster oven. So I can turn it off. Turn the dial. Here we go, and the little light goes off. I never had a toaster oven that had a light. Yeah, I feel special. I really do. Now I got to turn off the power bar behind the toaster oven. Now it's off. There we go. Voila. Sub rolls. Or Italian rolls, or whatever you want to do with them. Probably going to open them up and put maybe some fried chicken tenders in there, or you could put whatever you want in there, really. Bon appetit, as they say. Thought I'd show you the pita bread cooking in the electric fry pan. You just use a pastry brush with a little bit of shortening in the fry pan. Not a lot, just sort of lightly brush it. and then 3 minutes on one side with the lid on, and 3 minutes on the other side with the lid off. And then I put it into my handy dandy warmer here to keep it warm. And the timer will go off, and I will put it, let's see if I can get it so it's not blurry, in here, which is where I've been putting them. See? It opens up and it accepts them and it keeps them nice and warm, and they don't go hard, and it's beautiful. Just beautiful. Again with my, my angel, my gifting angel. Yeah. And I got one more after this. And so the rolls are done, the subs are done, the pita bread's done. There we go. I'll reset it for 3 minutes for the last pita bread. Whoop. 1, 2, 3. Let's see if I could show you this. See my dishes. I didn't want to show you that, but you know, with cooking, you have dishes. Let's see. I can do this without dropping it on the floor. That would not be good. Okay. So, you just drop it on in, like that. In it goes. Just let it close like that, and keep cooking. And it's perfect. Okay, got the last one in. 3 minutes with the lid on, 3 minutes with the lid off. I wasn't recording when I set it in there. I don't know where I said you have to poke with a fork the dough after you've rolled it to 7 or 9 inches. I usually roll it to 9. I'll get 4 good-sized pitas out of that. And you poke it with a fork all over, on both sides. And then you cook it. And that keeps it from bubbling up and ballooning on you. So, I'm almost done. That's the last one. Then I do the final cleanup and go sit down and rest my back, because it's a screaming at me again.